Hello and welcome. So about 10 to 11 years ago, I bought my first piece of gear. It was a Condor plate carrier and multicam. I didn't have plates for it. I didn't have any mags to put in it. And I bought some pouches. I took it all home. And then I kind of realized I didn't know what to put in it. and really, what did I need and how much did I need of it? And I didn't really have anyone that I could talk to or ask about those things. And it was a little frustrating at first, I guess. It was something that was definitely influenced by, seeing airsofters dress up in like full kit and, LARP and do milsim. I guess take, pictures with like Enola Gay smoke grenades. And all that stuff was cool. About that time I was in middle school and my dad had recently got me an AR. And I think that was one of the main things that drove me into getting in. I knew I wanted the gear. I saw it and I was like, well, I have this rifle and I have a need to support it with some equipment. So I knew I was going to get some mags eventually. And then I had all these other pouches because I'd seen them online and I didn't really know exactly what to do with them or what to put in them. So since then, like I said, about 10, 11 years later, this is what we have. So I've definitely come a long way from then. And one of the things that I had in mind was trying to help people get an idea of the roadmap. What is the stuff that you need to sustain yourself, to fight, to build out a load-bearing piece of equipment, and answer those questions. What do I need? How much of it? And what am I planning for? And as a citizen, that's probably one of the most difficult questions to ask, and it's one that I think everyone who will get into this stuff it still asks every day. What am I preparing for? What am I planning for? And it's a hard question because we don't have the luxury that law enforcement or military does, where you have a pretty a good understanding of your threat level, how long you'll be exposed to it, and so on and so forth. So as citizens, this is a difficult question that we're often planning for. One of the things that I have learned and taken away, and if I could go back 10 or 11 years ago and tell my past self something, it would be to plan or to buy stuff that is scalable. And the hard thing is, okay, what do I buy? I mean, I'm at this point, I want to buy something. What do I buy? That is one of the many things that I want to cover in this video, and that I'll be covering in my series of this video and more, about lessons that I've learned and things that I've taken away, and what I recommend and what I don't recommend, and why that is. It's usually because I've tried it. I definitely went the Condor route, and I tried to buy into that system of stuff, and it really didn't end up working out for me. It was mainly just due to ignorance. I just didn't know any better, and I wasn't really sure where else to look. And if you're watching this, you're probably someone who's operating on some form of a budget. And that being said, you want to put your money towards things that you will be able to use in the future. I think that's a super important thing. And throughout this, I'll definitely go into some features, things like pouches that really are multi-purpose, right? This is a canteen pouch. This can be used for a lot more things than just canteens. It's a multi-purpose item. That's why I say it that way. So, that being said, let's get into it. Notes. Yes. So, ignoring my abysmal handwriting. This is kind of the outline, the plan that I had for this episode, and planning on talking about the things that I think that people who are starting out need to think about for the future. There's probably a lot going on in your head, like I have a lot of equipment here, right? But I can explain all of it in 5 categories. We have ammo. It's probably the number one thing that you're going to run to first. The reason that you get something like this is to hold ammunition. And that is the ability that you get right off the bat from buying a chest rig standalone are mag pouches, which is pretty handy. Then I think this being an descending level of importance / development. I think this is kind of the natural evolution of what your gear journey should look like in my experience. Medical, then water, and then tools, which is kind of a broad category that I will talk about. And then lastly, communication, which is a super important one. And depending on who you are and what you do and what your past experience is, you might already have a pretty good idea of what this is. But if you don't, but you like the idea of getting into radio or visual signaling, in my experience, this is the last thing that I've been working on because it's one of the most difficult ones to do with my group of people that I like to plan and train with. So getting right into it. Ammunition. Lots of questions here. How to carry mags, how much to carry, and what to carry. For the sake of this video, I'm just going to be focusing on a 5.56. I'm going to assume you're running a regular AR-15 carbine like most people are. With this setup I have here, I'm holding 6 mags. From what I understand, most people that plan for something like warfare, guerrilla warfare, or something of that nature, with 5.56, from what I understand, you want to be holding anywhere from 4 to 8 mags. And from what I've heard a lot, and from my own experience even, it's a good idea to be able to hold all of your ammo on this instead of resupplying from a backpack, although you can still do it. And if that's the way that you want to go, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Just figure out how you're going to do it. But for the sake of this, I've definitely been playing with a loadout that can hold more mags from your traditional just like 3 mag placards. And for ways to hold mags and having something that is like a scalable system, I will have to say flapped double stack mag pouches I think are just the way to go. I've tried the Kydex inserts and I hate the bungee tab retainers. The Kydex mag inserts are expensive, they don't hold 2 mags, and these are essentially general purpose mag pouches, as you can see. I have these can hold a variety of items. Just for example, 32, right? 32 round Glock mag. I have a multi-tool. I keep my tools in this one, going into that tools category. I could probably even fit something else in there. But just as an example, this is how you can utilize these flaps for something that besides just magazines. My opinion, this is the way to go. I mean, there's videos on this chest rig. This isn't anything that's like too new out there. I think it's a phenomenal piece of gear. It's not going to be a review on it by any means, but like double thumbs up on this one. You can hold a pistol in here. Like I have a Glock 19 with a TLR 7A. Fits perfectly in there because the light's kind of flat with the barrel. You can hold water bottles. Fit great. And even 308 mags, AK mags, and multiple I guess like PDW mags, like CZ Scorpion mags fit good in here. So this system is something that can be used with a variety of weapon systems, and that's why you bring it up. Some people might not want that or have that. I think it's important for me personally. I like having the option, and I like having the option to run my 308 mags in here for my AR-10. So that was something that was a really big decision on picking out what system to go with. Was first of all, what ammo am I trying to carry? How much of it am I trying to carry? And how do I want to carry it? And I'm really glad to see that the double flat mag pouches have made a comeback, because There's a lot of other stuff out there, but I'll have to say, I just think that this is the way to go. It's phenomenal. I'm not just saying this chest rig and, you know, period. You can get surplus double mag pouches and do a whole lot of stuff with that, which I plan on covering in other videos in the future. So the next one we're going to go on to is medical. And I'm sure everyone's heard this phrase, you know, if you're going to like make holes, you got to like plug them or whatever. I think it's just a responsibility thing. I know you're safe. I know you're not going to get hurt. But even if you're going to the gun range, you know, you're dealing with weapons and they hurt whenever you have accidents. Never had one, thank God. But I have gone to the range and needed stuff like a Band-Aid because I've scraped up my finger handling steel targets. I had my older brother one time actually slice his arm open at the gun range and was like gushing blood. And a week or two before, I had built out a personal first aid kit and had gauze in there. And actually, this is the one I still use, and it's pretty much a variation of the first one that I built out. And all this is just, I had a bunch of first aid kits around the house, and I kind of stripped them for the contents that I wanted. And while I have a couple Band-Aids, alcohol wipes, larger Band-Aids, or like, and a pack of gauze in here, eye drops, chapstick, and wound seal, and allergy medication, Tylenol, right? Stuff that's just going to keep me comfortable. And if you don't feel like that you have the money to fork over on a medical kit right now, or you don't know what you want to do, this is what I would recommend doing. Commit to putting in the time and the thought to actually building out a personal boo-boo kit that is for you and your needs that you can grab and put somewhere in your equipment. I actually don't have it on this piece of gear right now, and the reason being is because the one thing that's going to get replaced on here in the future is this. I'm going to actually expand it to the T-Rex arms, like kangaroo wallaby pouch, because it just holds more stuff. And this is also bleeding over into comms. I want a pouch that is going to be able to hold more items. It's going to scale up my system a little bit for my signaling with my buddies. And it's also going to hold this little pouch right here, because right now I don't have any space for it. So that going on, I know a big thing that I struggled with was, you know, what medical equipment do I need and where do I carry it, being the big one. I think you should pretty much, and I think this is something that people throw in a lot, you should carry on your medical equipment in the same place so that you always kind of know where it is. And I know for a lot of people, I think running it over on the right sides is pretty good. For example, if you have like a slick plate carrier with a cummerbund, a lot of people have the medical kits and the nylon cummerbund over on the right side. And I think that works really good, and it's way out of the way over there. Chest rigs, you don't really have that luxury because everything's really up front. And I've tried the wings. They don't really work because there's so much like bulk right here and it presses against your body. Like there's just other chest rigs that do stuff like that that don't really do that super well. I mean, I will have to say, like, the Velocity Systems Mayflower is really cool because you have a dedicated medical pouch and it fits like large trauma kits well. And that's kind of the things that we're thinking about packing here, like a larger trauma kit, because a trauma kit is not this. This is not a trauma kit. This is not to stop bullet holes, and you still need that. And once you figure out what type of trauma kit you're going to get, it's figuring out a place to put it. In my experience, I've kind of tried to put it everywhere. And from what I've learned, I think putting it in a pouch positioned at the abdomen is probably my favorite place for it. So just a basic dangler pouch. So in here I have two tourniquets stuffed. I don't know what anyone thinks about that, but I keep it with my medical brick. And it just all fits in there, and it's nice and tucked out of the way, and it's protected. And this is one that I have burn tech, combat gauze, regular gauze, gloves, duct tape. I believe they still sell these from T-Rex, and I liked it because I like having the burn tech. And this is one of the larger ones, so it is hard to fit in here. And that's really what I like to rock. And like I said, the best place I think I figured out for it is running it in abdomen position. And once I get that wallaby pouch, I'm going to be doing the same thing. It's all just going to be stuffed into there. And I think one trauma kit for your chest, system is good. I think there's other places that you can hold other medical kits, but as someone that's just trying to build out a system for being like an infantryman, having one close by and having one in your gear is like, it's already hard to find a spot for it. I think one is plenty for that role. So moving on now to water. Water is one of those things that you have to plan for the scalability. You have to plan around a system. And there's really two ways that most people run water. I honestly don't know of any others. And that being water bottles or a camelback. So a bladder that you run in the backpack. And I would recommend, if you were building out some gear for being some type of infantryman or guerrilla, I do think the backpack is the appropriate way to go. I wouldn't spend the time on the back panels or trying to fit this in a hydration bladder because it's only going to get in the way of your backpack. So finding a backpack for this. Now the con is your water is all in a backpack. So if you lose the backpack somehow, you've lost your water. I know there's a lot of people on the internet who really kind of hate that, and so they keep all their water on their gear. I think it's good to just have the options and to kind of maybe plan for both and practice both. The gear or the system that I'm going to explain to you real quickly, with the water bottles, I really kind of enjoy. I think it's neat, especially if you're doing something like backpacking, or if you're planning on doing any long duration survival work, especially if you're planning on purifying water. So this bladder, it is from Source, and great bladder. It's great. It doesn't taste bad. It's never leaked on me. I did have to replace the mouthpiece actually because it popped out on me during a skiing trip and I lost it forever. Not really a review of that, but it is something to know. But I've enjoyed this bladder. It's really been great. But this bladder in particular is about 100 ounces, holds about 3 quarts of water, or 3 liters. But I think they're about the same. Wait. Yes. I will fact check myself in the video editing. These water bottles, these 1 quart canteens. Yes, they are 1 quart. Hold about 1 quart of water, right? And what I will do is I'll normally have a backpack with 2 more canteen pouches on each side of them, and externally I will carry 2 more of these, which means that I have 3 water bottles in rotation of one another. And up here I will carry water purification tablets, which means I can fill this up when it's empty, drop the purification into it, reach it around in my backpack, stow this one in the pouch, grab a clean one out, and then stuff it back up in here. So those are kind of the 2 systems. I think that the camelback is a little bit more practical for doing high activity, because you get to drinking from this is relatively quicker than getting the water bottle out. But this is a little bit more sus to purify in the bladder, especially if you don't clean it out and then maybe you're just drinking it and there's some other funky bacteria in it. I personally don't have too much experience with that, but I know I keep both options at hand. And buying these canteens are so cheap. So I know there's some people who have the Nalgene's, and that's cool and awesome. If you have 5 Nalgene's in your kitchen that you don't use, yeah, sure. Throw them in your gear. They look great. But the canteens are flatter. They sit close to your body. They're nice. You can pick up a lot of them and just have extras, and you can even hand some out to your buddies whenever they forget their water for the camping trip. Another thing with this pouch, let's just say you were going to run the Camelback in a backpack and not have anything else up here. Hypothetically, if you were just working on building out a system just like this one, this chest rig, you could ditch the canteen there. And like I said, investing in gear and pouches that are multi-purpose. A surplus canteen pouch fits a lot of stuff, and they are really cool. Do not underestimate them. And they're way better than buying my opinion, spending like $50 on a brand new like Gucci hydration pouch. This fits an IFAK and 2 tourniquets perfectly, right? This is a great, cheap, entry-level way to get into a medical pouch. Yeah, can't say enough about that. Once I kind of figured this out, I was like, man, I wish I would have known that years ago. So now we're going to get on to the tools category. The big thing here is just figuring out what you need to carry and where to carry it. Which sounds stupid because that's what this is all about. But typically the first two tools that I started out with and would kind of recommend is carrying a handheld flashlight. They are nice to have around. And this one is a Streamlight ProTac, right? The ProTac, right? It's like a $50 light, but I enjoy having this around and having a handheld option, although I do have weapon lights. And the second one being some sort of multi-tool. I did buy this one. It was a little bit more expensive. It was the one with like the most tools on it. It's really kind of heavier than I would like, and it doesn't have a belt clip or like a I don't know if it's a belt clip, but a clip. If you're going to get a Leatherman, I would totally recommend getting one with the clip on it. It just makes it nicer. It keeps it in place when it's in these pouches. You have something to like clip it onto. But the multi-tool, I mean, enough said. Multi-tool, great. You can do a lot there. Then this is where the GP pouch comes into play, because this is, in my mind, what I'm going to be carrying more tools with. For example, I think it's quite appropriate for us riflemen to be able to range targets and to even use something like this for a observation device. And see, I have this tied off here. And this can fit in the GP pouch very well. Later on down the road, after you're building up your tools and your capabilities, night vision is one of those things that I think is appropriate to always have on your gear so that you're not constantly paranoid about how it's doing in your backpack. And that was one of those things that I kind of figured out for myself too. I was like, I'm not going to carry it on my gear. I don't really want it up there. I already got so much going on, but I do find it much more comforting to keep your night vision on your equipment. So that being said, in this GP pouch, oh my, the eyepiece is coming off, but we do have a PVS 14 unit that can fit in here just fine. Probably gonna add some padding to this GP pouch later so that I can carry this stuff in there without fretting anymore about it. I'm gonna do that by simply cutting a piece of cutting a piece of like packaging foam and lining the exterior of this side of the pouch with the foam so that it's facing the outside. So just keep that in mind whenever you're picking your GP pouches. I got this one because I wanted to try it. It look cool. I think this, I kind of feel like that this could be a little bit bigger. And for example, there are similar pouches that you can get to this that kind of do the same thing. For example, a surplus IFAK pouch. It is a little smaller, I believe. Like, it's not as tall, but It's a buckled and Velcroed pouch, and get one with the insert because they're fun, that you can stuff random items into. And this one comes with a tie off. So if you want to save a couple bucks on your GP pouches, try something like this out. You can also use them for medical equipment, and they usually come in packs of 2. And that being said, the last pieces of equipment to carry is GPS and radio, which kind of is bleeding over into comms. I'll have to say the GPS is one that I know some people have them in pouches, but in my experience, I just hate pulling it in and out of the pouch whenever I'm navigating. It would be nice to have some place to stow it away so it's not kind of just dangling around up here. And this will be something that I'm going to like make a glare reflector for, or like camouflaging the screen essentially, and camouflaging the unit. Same thing with the speaker mic. This is important though. I mean, I think that everyone should get a GPS eventually and learn how to use it. This is the 66 SR. Hopefully I'll be making a video on it in the future. I've really had a great experience with this GPS, and it's the first one I've ever had, and I'm completely taught myself how to use it. So that being said, I think that's a wrap, folks. I hope this kind of cleared up some of your thought process and getting gear together and built out for the future. Some of the little items that you can pick up that really don't have to cost a whole lot, and you don't have to spend so much on the pouches to get them. But these are all things that I use whenever I'm out doing gun adjacent activities. And from my experience and everything that I've learned, it's worked out quite well. I hope to make more videos like this in the future, but I think I want to start it off. I think I want to start out with a video that really explained kind of the mindset behind what to get into at first. And for my guys who are really just trying to take notes and figure out what to spend their money on, I would 100% look at military surplus. There's a bunch of websites out there. There's Venture Surplus, Army Navy Outdoors. There's great stores on eBay where you can find like all different varieties of vests with different mag pouch configurations on them. And it's super fun to look at. You can score a lot of stuff for a really good price. You can score FLC load-bearing vests, or flicks, some people call them, with like 4 or 3 double-stack mag pouches, a canteen pouch or 2, for like sometimes under like $50. And then you're essentially getting this setup, right? If you had 2 canteen pouches as GPs, one is a GP, one is a medical, you can do this for super cheap. And I would 100% go that route, buying used, proven surplus equipment that is going to hold its value, and you shouldn't buy it in defective condition, but most of it's not. Sometimes you just need to throw it in the washing machine with the rest of your clothes. And that would be my way to start. But if someone was getting, if you were looking at chest rigs and you were maybe trying to gather some ideas about, that looks like a lot of stuff, what do you do with all that? This is, I think, an idea that you could build up to. That being said, like 10 years ago, whenever I was getting into gear to begin with, chest rigs weren't even a thing that people were talking about. It was not very popular. It was, plate carriers with 3 mags on them and like a tourniquet and I don't know, some other weird stuff. The gun space has really evolved since then, and I think for anyone who's starting out, chest rigs are the way to go. There are ways to integrate this with body armor, but plate carriers, unless you're going to go out and spend the money on plates and nice ones, chest rigs are the way to go. And even if you did have the money, I would even stray away from buying a plate carrier to begin with for a couple reasons. It's like, okay, do you have, if let's say you're going to spend $1,000 on plates and a plate carrier. Okay, so you're telling me that you're also going to buy a nice radio, a nice GPS. Do you have night vision? Can your gun shoot with night vision? Or all those other things in place before you go with something like body armor? However, I do understand we do live in, or maybe starting to live in, quite spicy times, and I'm not bashing body armor. It's something that everyone should own. I just think that there are other tools and things that you should be getting in place before you build up to it. But that being said, with things like communication, which I haven't really even touched on because I'm still building out my communication plan. Stuff like radios take time to learn and take people to talk to. If you don't have anyone to talk to, you probably shouldn't get a radio right now. Maybe you should buy body armor. And if you don't have a place to go hiking and to get lost in the woods, maybe you don't need to spend a ton of money on a GPS, or maybe you just need a smaller one to get around the city in. That doesn't cost as much. In any event, evaluate your needs and be resourceful with how you spend your money. And I would 100% recommend buying used stuff that is proven. Thanks for watching. Be safe, be vigilant, and have a blessed day.